Cats are subtle creatures. They don't shout their feelings, they don't complain, and they never explain themselves the way humans do. Instead, their emotions slip quietly between small behaviors, tiny reactions, and the moments we often overlook. And while most cats show affection in delicate, almost invisible ways, they also reveal their discomfort, distrust, or emotional distance with the same silence. Today, we're uncovering the signs that your cat may not feel connected to you. Not to blame, not to shame, but to help you understand the gaps, the misunderstandings, and the moments where the bond quietly breaks. Because love isn't always missing. Sometimes it's simply misunderstood. 1. They avoid your touch. Even when you're gentle. When a cat truly dislikes someone, it doesn't show it with aggression. It shows it with absence. A cat that pulls away the moment your hand approaches, shifts its body to create distance, or stiffens under your touch is sending a message far louder than a hiss ever could. Cats know exactly how to communicate comfort. If they like you, their body loosens, their tail softens, and they lean subtly into your hand. But when they don't feel connected to you, every inch of their posture becomes guarded. Their muscles tighten, their eyes track your movements, and they may allow a quick pet out of politeness rather than affection, but they won't truly relax with you. A cat that doesn't love you won't seek your warmth. It won't curl beside you, won't brush its cheek against your leg, and won't invite touch in those small, intimate ways cats do when they trust someone. Its avoidance isn't random. It's a quiet, deliberate choice to keep emotional distance. The absence of touch is one of the clearest signs of a missing bond. Not because the cat is cold or difficult, but because love for a cat is always shown through closeness, and the lack of it speaks volumes. 2. Your cat stops seeking your presence. One of the clearest signs that a cat no longer feels connected to you is a subtle but powerful change. They stop choosing to be near you. Cats don't need constant touch to show affection, but they do need proximity. A cat that loves you will naturally drift toward your space, lying nearby, sitting in the same room, or quietly positioning themselves within your line of sight. Not necessarily touching you, but simply existing beside you. That quiet closeness is one of their most sincere forms of affection. But when a cat no longer feels bonded, trusted, or emotionally safe, that natural pull toward your presence begins to fade. They stay in different rooms. They linger in hallways instead of joining you. They wait until you leave to enter shared spaces. They create distance that feels intentional, even if it's silent. This avoidance isn't anger. Cats don't process emotions like humans. It's self-protection. A cat removes itself from what it no longer trusts and chooses solitude over uncertainty. If your cat has stopped seeking your company, it's not just a behavior shift, it's a message. A quiet signal that something in the bond has weakened, and they no longer feel the comfort that once drew them toward you. But the good news is simple. Closeness can be rebuilt. With patience, gentleness, and consistent calm energy, a cat can learn to choose you again. 3. They pull away when you try to pet them. One of the clearest signs your cat doesn't feel emotionally connected is the way they respond to your touch. A cat that loves you leans in, softens its posture, and welcomes your hand. But a cat that doesn't feel close will do the opposite. They stiffen, shift their weight away, lower their ears slightly, or walk off the moment you reach toward them. This isn't random moodiness. Cats avoid touch when they don't feel safe, when they don't trust the person reaching out, or when they simply don't enjoy that specific bond. They're highly selective animals, and their body language always tells the truth. If your cat repeatedly pulls away, it's not an accident, it's a message. A message that says, I don't feel comfortable with closeness right now, and cats only reject touch from one type of human, the human they don't feel connected to. A loved cat chooses contact. A distant cat avoids it. The difference is subtle, but unmistakable. 4. They avoid your touch even when you get close. A cat that loves you won't always seek constant affection, but a cat that doesn't feel connected to you will avoid even the smallest gesture. When you walk toward them and they quietly step aside, when you reach out your hand and they lean away, or when they stand up and leave the moment you sit next to them, they're not being mysterious. They're creating emotional distance. Cats protect their comfort the same way we protect our feelings. If they don't trust your presence or don't feel emotionally safe around you, the first thing they withdraw is physical closeness. You'll notice they prefer the opposite side of the room, a different chair, a different corner, anything that keeps a gentle space between you and them. This isn't about fear or danger, it's about disconnection. A cat that doesn't want your touch is silently saying, I don't feel close to you right now. And that distance doesn't happen suddenly. It grows from moments they felt misunderstood, ignored, frightened, or emotionally overlooked. A cat's body language never lies. If they pull away from your hand, they are pulling away from the bond behind it. 5. They no longer seek your presence. When a cat stops choosing to be near you, it is rarely random. Cats show love through proximity. They sit nearby, follow you into rooms, rest where your scent is strongest, and exist quietly in your space because it brings them comfort. Proximity is affection in their language. So when a cat intentionally distances itself for long periods, avoids rooms you enter, or chooses to rest far away even in moments when it normally wouldn't, it is often a sign of emotional withdrawal, not hatred, but disconnection. A cat that once followed you from room to room now stays behind. A cat that used to relax beside you now prefers distant corners or high places where they can observe without being seen. These shifts are subtle, but meaningful. Cats don't express disappointment with dramatic gestures. They show it by creating space. Their silence becomes distance, and that distance becomes a quiet message. Something in the bond has weakened. This doesn't always mean they no longer care about you. It means they no longer feel as comfortable, as secure, or as connected as before. Restoring that connection requires patience, gentle presence, and understanding, the same qualities that earn a cat's love in the first place. 6. They show no interest in your routine or your presence. Cats may be independent, but a cat that loves you always pays attention to the rhythm of your life. They notice when you wake up, when you walk from one room to another, when you sit down, and even when you speak. They observe you not out of obligation, but out of connection. They follow patterns because you matter to them, but a cat that does not feel attached to you behaves differently. They don't look up when you enter the room. They don't shift their ears when they hear your footsteps. They don't watch you move from place to place. They don't care where you are, what you're doing, or how long you've been gone. For a bonded cat, your presence is part of their world. For a disconnected cat, your presence is simply background noise. A lack of curiosity toward your routine isn't independence. It's emotional distance. When a cat doesn't feel love or comfort around you, your life becomes a soundless shadow to them. No following, no watching, no quiet interest, just absence, even when you're standing right there. 7. They avoid the places that smell most like you. Cats don't just recognize you by sight or sound. To them, your scent is the strongest emotional marker you have. Your clothes, your bed, your favorite chair, even the blanket you always use. These are all U-shaped territories in a cat's mind. A cat that loves you is naturally drawn to these places. They sleep on your clothes, curl up in your spot, or stretch out on your pillow because your scent makes them feel safe. It is their way of staying close even when you're not in the room. But when a cat consistently avoids everything that smells like you, when it chooses the opposite corner of the house or sleeps in new places as far from your presence as possible, this behavior is rarely random. It is distance made visible. It's the silent way a cat says, "Your presence doesn't comfort me right now." No confronting, no drama, no obvious rejection, just absence. A quiet, steady avoiding of anything connected to you. This isn't just indifference. It's emotional withdrawal. When a cat stops seeking your scent, it means your bond has loosened, and rebuilding that trust requires patience, calmness, and consistency. Understanding a cat's heart is never simple. They don't shout their feelings, they don't confess their emotions, and they never explain themselves the way humans do. Instead, they speak through silence, distance, hesitation, and the tiny details we often fail to notice. If your cat shows several of the signs we discussed, it doesn't mean they're incapable of loving you. It means something in the relationship needs healing, trust needs rebuilding, safety needs strengthening. Cats don't choose people easily, but when they do, the bond is one of the purest connections you can experience. If you feel your cat is pulling away, use this as a chance to reflect, adjust, and understand them on a deeper level. Love for a cat isn't earned through force or expectation. It's earned through patience, consistency, gentleness, and the simple act of showing up in a calm and reliable way. Your cat may not say the words, but they will always tell the truth through their behavior. The more you learn their language, the closer they come. The moment they begin to trust you again, every sign reverses. Distance turns into closeness, avoidance turns into curiosity, silence turns into comfort. If you truly want your cat to love you, start by becoming someone they can feel safe with. Everything else naturally follows.